Summer's winding down, but Sporting Convos with Eddie and Mike is starting to heat up. It's me, Mike, and I'm here with my guy,
Eddie P. Greetings and salutations.
And yeah, like, I'm serious. Summer is winding down. It's August 19th. But, of course, with the end of summer comes the beginning of football season. So, we're going to talk a lot about the Commanders today. We're going to talk some Caleb Williams. The Vikings. It's kind of early to talk about another team as extensively as we're going to talk about them. But when you have the summer that they've had, it's worth the discussion or two. We'll follow that up by our favorite, John Madden, getting his own biopic. Interesting candidate to play him, I would say. Noah Lyles, he just can't stop beefing with American sports. And I say American sports for a reason, and not necessarily Americans. You'll understand later. And speaking of Americans and the Olympics, are we beginning to see Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown become villains? I don't know, but I can't wait to talk to Eddie about that. But
it's happening.
Again,
it's a thing. Get ready.
Again, it's Sporting Convos with Eddie and Mike, and we chilling. But let's just jump right into it, bro, because we got a lot to talk about.
Let's go.
I've been holding on to this. I haven't made any Facebook posts, any in-depth Facebook posts or tweets or anything. And I haven't done, we haven't done the classified in the last 2 weeks. So I haven't said anything publicly about the Commanders since the beginning of the month, honestly. But I'm going to tell y'all this, man. Jaden Daniels, he looked as advertised, bro.
It's true.
Like all the stuff that they were saying about him coming out of college, all the stuff that they were saying about him in training camp, he's displayed it in his last 2 games. Arm strength, yes. Mobility, yes. Scrambling, yes. Decision making, yes. Protecting the ball, yes.
He had the one. He had the one with the decision making, though.
We'll talk about that.
And he got hit, but he knew once he got up, and I think that hit helped remind him, like, oh yeah, can't be doing that crap. But overall, good decision making, both when to run and with the ball. I did not see the Miami game; had to rely on highlights. One thing I am kind of noticing. Seems like Tatum Brown is kind of becoming his favorite target. I mean, nobody is saying he's a threat to Terry. Let me get that out there. But it seemed in the Miami game, Terry got some passes real quick early on. Seemed like they fed him the ball. And then I know there was a screen pass to Tatum. Seems like that's going to – I don't know. I heard it talked about a lot as though that might be – like kind of a staple of our offense in general, but I don't want to get sidetracked. We're talking about Mr. Daniels, not talking about our points of attack, at least not yet.
Yeah, and like even with the offensive line in shambles that first game versus the Jets, he still was able to look pretty decent, even though they weren't playing their starters. Talking about the Jets D-line, we were missing our top 3 tackles in that game, as well as a guard. I think Cosme did play. So erase that. It was just the tackles that didn't play. But yeah, like he looks the part. Like everybody's been saying we got one, and I'm like, chill, we don't know yet. I'll say this. He's at the very least a starting quarterback in this league. Because I'm going to go back to the first game. You compare the way he looked versus the way Mariota looked, and oh my goodness. It's night and day, bro. There's a reason Mariota is now a backup quarterback in this league, and it's a reason why Jaden Daniels is going to be a starter in this league. Like, it's just night and day the way they played football. And again, Daniels was behind a mixed shape or messed up line or makeshift. That's what I was trying to say. He was behind a makeshift. I don't know what I was saying. He was behind a makeshift line, and the first game and the second game, honestly, and he still looked good. But Mariota just isn't looking the part. So I feel confident, very confident, not enough to bet my next check on it, but enough to put a couple of pennies on that he will be QB1 to start the season. Like, that conversation is over. There's nothing else he can do. He should not play any. He should not play in that third preseason game. Don't care if it's national TV. He shouldn't even suit up. Let Driscoll play 3 quarters. Let McSorley finish out the game. And yeah, like he's ready for the nose he needs to show in a preseason game. He can do all that stuff in practice, but no need to put him in unnecessary risk. He played him 2 games. He looks nice. Like I said, he passed all the tests. Now it's time to play some football for real.
Yeah, I don't know that I totally agree with him not needing to play at all in the preseason. I do worry, you know, obviously you don't want any sort of injuries or anything like that to happen. But I just feel like, you know, it kind of maybe coming from the Peyton Manning school of thought where, you know, the value of reps is just there's especially in that kind of setting, you know, if he is the starter, which I agree with, or going to be the starter rather, QB1, whatever other title you want to give it, then I think the more game experience he can get to really help, you know, with the pre-snap read, post-snap, knowing, you know, when to tuck it, when to throw it, you know, a lot of those things that we're already saying he's doing well. I think the more he can get exposed to what other teams are doing, granted, teams are going to be kind of fairly vanilla in preseason. I get that too. But just adjusting to, hey, here's the look, and then here's how the look looked, if that makes sense, like from a college standpoint. You know what I mean? If they run some kind of blitz package and maybe he's seen it before, but he's seen it before at the college level, it's like, hey, it's not the same. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, but he already, like, that's what I'm saying though. It's really nothing else more he can show that he hasn't shown already. Like the stuff you're describing, he did that in the first game when he audibled out of the play. There was a screen that they were supposed to run. He audibled out it to a play that hit Diami on the 9 route or on a fly route, and like that shows like he can. Like you said, they're not defenses aren't going to play like exotic defenses in the preseason, especially the third preseason game.
yeah,
I just feel like the juice isn't worth the squeeze for the third preseason game.
I definitely
and that's enough.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing real quick. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
That's another thing. Another thing is the fact that it's 3 preseason games now. And I'm like, if it was 4 preseason games, yes, play them that entire first half in the third preseason game. But that third, only having 3 preseason games kind of threw it off. We're not doing joint practices like we did with the Jets and Patriots. And I don't know if you realize, but there's like an extra week in between the last preseason game and the first regular season game. It's like a 13-day break or something crazy like that. So, like, I don't know. Like, I just don't think it's necessary. Oh, and for real, last thing.
There is one more thing.
I'm starting to think that virtual reality stuff that he's been using since he got to LSU, I had a sense that played or that is playing a crucial role in his development. I had a sense that it was. But actually seeing him play, seeing him practice and whatever, I'm convinced that is a crucial part of his development. Not only him playing as many plays as he played in college football, because he was a 4-year starter, 2 different schools. So the man has been playing some football the last couple of years. But I don't know, that virtual reality stuff, bro. I just got a sense that that's the new wave, man. And that's how quarterbacks are going to develop. Don't get me wrong, you still need to have the actual experience because you can't simulate a crowd. Like you're not simulating a November game in Philly versus the Eagles with the number one division spot on the line, or a game in San Francisco, a playoff game in San Francisco. Like you can't simulate that type of stuff. But what you can do is simulate coverages. You can simulate a rusher because everything is tracked now with GPS in the NFL. Well, not everything, but almost everything. So you can create programs and things like that to help with quarterbacks developments. And like I said, I think that's the wave of the future. I've been talking a lot. What you got?
No, I mean, you raised a lot of good points. I guess I just, I want for that chemistry and all those things that he's been working on, getting the guys up early, extra routes, everything. I just, there's not really a good substitute for game speed. And, as I mentioned with the vanilla defensive looks, and then the fact that probably not playing against, top tier guys as much as guys trying to make the team, it does make more sense. I kind of want to die on this hill a little bit, but I'm just going to go ahead and rock with you.
I want them to play. Shoot, I want to see it.
Yeah, but
if they don't, it's cool.
Is the main reason I'm kind of really rolling with it, like in that is just, that risk and the fact that we really need him. So, yeah, I don't got much else to say in that regard as far as when talking about Mr. Daniels.
So I don't know if it's going to be this episode or next episode when we do our predictions. The next episode or the episode after next. You know what? It probably is going to be a next episode because quick program note, we will not be having a show until September probably because I'm out of town next week for my anniversary, 6 years. Love you, Marty. And yeah, so I just won't have time to do another show. But yeah, after that, you will be seeing us for the entire football season throughout the Super Bowl. We'll be here every single week during the football season. So don't worry, we ain't going nowhere. But yeah, let's move on with the rest of the offense. I'll just give my takes on each position real quick. Tight end. I'm going to start with tight end. I love all three of them. Hell, even Cole Turner has made me proud a little bit this year, this preseason. We know what Ertz can do. Senate has been looking real nice. Even B. Mitch said that he reminds him of Cooley. And remember I said that when we first drafted the Bama? Yep. So I feel confident in that comparison. O-line is going to be shaky for the entirety of the season. Don't trip. It's not going to be as bad as it would be under previous regimes of quarterbacks and schemes. Because I think Kingsbury will use the offense of line enough to help produce. Like you can easily see that in the first two games. Like the quick offense is here in DC. Like believe that. Running backs. Eckler Robinson is cooking this year. Like straight up.
Yeah.
I know we're in the same league, but bro, and we're in the league with a bunch of Skins Commanders fans too. But I'm telling you, Brian Robertson, if you can get him in them first 4 or 5 rounds, grab that man. Pause.
Like, did you know he was shot last year?
Oh goodness, it wasn't last year. It was the year before last. But surprisingly, people haven't stopped talking about that. Like they mention it as an incident now. Like they don't say he gets shot.
It was an incident. Like that's even worse. Like
nah, they'll say like
that minor incident he dealt with.
They'll say off the field event. That's a field event. But no, him and Eckler are good. That third running back spot is going to be a battle. I thought Rodriguez had it in the bag, but he ain't even getting that much burn. It's Alabama, Michael
Wiley.
Wiley. I said Wheatley. That's a basketball player. Yeah, like he might sneak in and get that third spot. And the receivers, of course, McLaurin cooking. But the surprise so far has been Diami. Like, I'm really proud to see him step up. And he said y'all was sleeping on him when we drafted McCaffrey. So, yeah. And speaking of him, he's looking all right. But the concern before last night was Dotson. But after seeing him play and listening to Dan Quinn, I think everybody was overreacting.
Okay.
Jahan, Jahan will have a decent season with Daniels and Kingsbury. I'm sure of it. This will be a career year for him. Will he get 1,000 yards? I don't know. Highly doubt it. But I think his highest for the season is like 500 or something. He's gonna flirt with 800 yards. I feel like this year.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I feel about the offense right now. Like it's growing, and I feel good about it in 2024. But I think I'll love it in 25.
All right, now it's my turn. Tight ends, I'd say Senate is pretty much getting all the attention. Haven't really heard anything one way or another about Bates or Ertz. I suppose
he had a good catch yesterday.
I thought he had a decent catch in the first one against the Jets too, if memory serves correct. But what I was getting at is the Senate with that run and catch and carrying the guy and everything, and there was like, oh, the baby Gronk or whatever, something like that. I really want people to stop that right away. It was one play. I mean, it was awesome. It's great. I'd love to see him do it some more, but we're getting a little too quick to anoint and crown people certain things. So please stop right away. But not hearing anything about Bates and Ertz, like I said, it's a good thing. Like if they're not doing anything bad, you know what I mean? And staying healthy, obviously that's going on. The receiving core thing, I was going to bring up the Dotson thing. You beat me to the punch on that. It was just more the way Dan Quinn was answering the question when he was, like they thought Dotson would be the answer there, and it seems like they don't really have an X receiver. They go out and they sign Martavis Bryant, who's been out of football for a long time. I mean, really tall guy, got speed, ability to catch, go up high, go get it. Again, we've talked about this before on the show, but my man was out for mostly smoking weed and then refusing to show up to team functions once I believe he was getting suspended and in trouble. So I think it was something of that nature at the end where he decided to I'm not going to fly on this plane to go with the team somewhere. It was something like that did him in. But for the most part, it's been weed has been his problem. And now that that's not a problem in the country, I'm all for him having a second chance. The thing that kind of weirds me out is, you got guys like maybe a Michael Thomas, and I understand he's not the Michael Thomas he was a couple of years ago, but he's been playing. Martavis Bryant's out of football, but I'm bringing him up not just because we're talking about the offense and I'm talking about the receivers specifically, but I do think this has to do with our offensive style, which is where I would kind of disagree on what Jahan's going to do. I think the people catching passes are going to be I think Terry's really going to be the only receiver catching passes. I think it's going to be tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. I think we're running the ball a lot. I think that's why they got Martavis Bryant, because he's big and he could theoretically should be able to block people just with size alone. I think O-line, I think we can make it work. I'm excited about Biotish. I've mentioned that on many different episodes of the show. Hopefully Cosme can stay healthy. I've kind of really I really want him to work out just so it doesn't look so bad that like all the guys Ron is drafting just don't work. So yeah, sorry, you know.
I'm gonna say what I gotta say about that for another episode. I'm not going to forget because it's going to come up again.
Okay, well, hey, but yeah, and then as far as our running backs, I think it's kind of awesome that someone like Brian Robinson, who's young and like you said, he's looking really good. Pause, you know, he's in shape. You get a guy like Eckler, who's a known workhorse, I don't want to say like a gym rat, but he's in the weight room all the time, and he's been around for a while. Certainly, you would think will be more of the pass catching back, but you know he can carry the rock. As he's shown playing in San Diego, he can be the guy. And so I like having a 1-2 punch like that. You know, obviously Eckler, I would think would maybe be a little bit more of the speed guy, Robinson being the power, but both are really tough runners. Both can catch. So I do think we're going to be using both of them heavily. As far as the tight ends, you know, we already talked about that, but I don't know if this Senate guy's the truth, and I think that's going to be the next target. Is it's going to be running back, then tight end, and then Terry. But I think Daniels is going to be the big weapon. I think we're going to be running with him as much as he's going to be throwing. I think it's going to be 50-50. And to be honest, a lot of those times he goes to throw, he probably will end up running. So it might be a 60-40 leaning towards the run. Not with the intention of it being 60-40, but you know, out of like that's what the defense sort of allows.
Especially with the shaky O-line. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, like no, I agree. Nothing too outlandish. You think Bryant making the team?
That's a fair thing to say because we did talk about, you know, Bryson Tremaine. I suppose if that happens, I mean, then who are we cutting? We cutting Crowder? Because that's another thing too that where Jahan could maybe get back in good graces. He has return experience, punt return specifically.
So usually we would go offense, defense, special teams. But I feel like special teams is big enough.
Segue it, didn't I?
Yeah. I feel like special teams is kind of a problem or problematic enough to talk about now. We need a new kicker. I told Eddie yesterday in the first quarter, there will be a kicker brought in next week. And the Bama, I forgot his name now.
Ahmed?
Nah, we cut him.
Patterson.
Patterson. Okay, it is Riley Patterson.
Yeah, Patterson misses a kick, but we keep him. Ahmed makes one and we cut him. Yeah, none of that makes any sense.
We and yeah, he went 2 out of 4 yesterday. If you're playing baseball, that's an excellent percentage. As a field goal kicker, it's horrible. 50% is horrible, and he's missing low key bunnies, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. I feel bad for the front office because they had a kicker in McManus that would have been better than what they were in so far. But he hold them by not letting them know, oh, shoot, I might be sued for sexual harassment. I should probably tell the team that's about to sign me about this, just in case.
Oh, by the way, there's this little off the field incident.
An off the field events.
Yeah.
Where I am the criminal. Nevertheless,
not so little.
Like who they could bring in, I don't know, but coincidentally, Joey Sly is in a battle with somebody right now, I think in the Packers. So like if he loses that battle, he could easily be back here. And I have no problem with Joey Sly. Wasn't that the kicker last year for us or the last few years?
Sly Yeah.
I had no problems with him, bro. And it's funny, like how, like, why is this still a problem, bro? I can't remember who was the last kicker that Washington had that we were like confident in. Was it Sweezum?
Sean Sweesum. John Hall.
Nah, it's
Yeah, we
been a
have to
few
use that.
since Hall.
Okay. Well, what I was gonna say, and this doesn't just apply to kicker, but I think kicker is a great example because I do think this is what they're doing. And Grant Paulson was actually talking about this on the Grant and Danny show the other day. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a kicker for the Vikings. And so him and another guy are battling it out. Well, this particular kicker was the Vikings kicker last year, and he's pretty solid kicker. He's way better than what we have. And essentially, the idea is we're maybe waiting to see if guys get cut so then we can pick them up and get them on our team. So that's what I think potentially might be happening without us being let know that that's what's happening.
So I'm looking. John Hall was here from 03 to 06. There have been some since then. And it's funny, when I said John Hall, I mean, you said John Hall, who was here from 03 to 06. Schweezen was here from 06 to 09. So we said the two kickers that were here during the end of Gibbs' years here and the Zorn era. But Graham Gano was good. I liked him. Cundiff, nah. John Potter, nah. But let me tell you this though. That man Cobra Kai Forbath, I liked him. I liked him. I do remember Nick Rose. Didn't like him. But the kicker I was trying to think of was Dustin Hopkins. That was the last good kicker I feel like we had. And I say that not knowing that he kicked for us for 6 seasons, bro.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. 2015 to 2021. And then the previous mission, Joey Sly. And remember, we cut the kicker before him was Brian Johnson. And then Sly has been with us from 2021 to 2023. And right now, we have no kicker. That's the special team story. Tressway is killing it. The returns are going to return. But the kicker situation is brutal. It's absolutely.
Tress actually made a good play. I think in the Jets game, he made a
tackle.
He made a good tackle early on.
That's why when I was explaining the rundown earlier, that's why I was like, Tressway has been perfect. Yep. Like he's even making tackles. Like, I mean, you kind of wish two players can wear the same number, but I get it. Like Daniels does look nice in that 5. Pause. I guess. I can't wait to see what Tressway's new number is going to be. Him and a player we'll talk about later on defense. I think some of you know who I'm talking about already. But speaking of defense, I like what I've seen so far. And the player that I was talking about has probably been my favorite player so far on the preseason defensively. Rookie from Michigan, number 2 currently, Mikey Sanderstill. Like, he's been involved as a slack cornerback, bro. He's been involved. He's hitting, he's covering. Like, what more do you want from who was he a 2nd round or 3rd round? I think he was 3rd round.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he was 3rd round,
which is crazy. Or maybe we did get him and Johnny in the 2nd round, or did we get Senate in the 2nd round? I don't know, but he was a top 100 pick. Let's just say that, and he wasn't in the 1st round, but he's looking like a 1st rounder right now from the slot position. And but unfortunately, That's where the good news ends at cornerback. My man Forbes got cooked in the first game, gave up a touchdown. But I will say that besides that one touchdown he gave up and the things that he's given up in training camp, by all reports, he has looked okay at corner, and I think he's probably locked in as one of the starters right now. And that's not really too good because if he's the second best corner, we're in trouble right now, bro. I don't trust St. Juice anymore, man. Like he still has the same problem with positioning and turning his head around. He gave up a touchdown to like the fourth string wide receiver for the Dolphins yesterday. And it wasn't like some tricky, schemy stuff. It was just a normal fade. I feel like a corner like St. Juice should lock that down.
Well, I think my understanding, at least what I saw, was that Dan Quinn wanted to put all of his defensive backs in as many like pressure cooker situations as he possibly could. He wanted to really, I don't want to use the term expose, but I think what he wanted to do is get a complete 360-degree fine-tooth comb, like look at these guys, whether they're playing man, zone, high coverage, like whatever you want to call it. He wanted to see these guys in as many different positions and scenarios as he could. And I mean, I think that's great because it's going to help you evaluate. And, I do feel like that's going to be a position continue to address in future drafts. But in the same breath that I was saying reps, in regards to Daniels, that could be good for these guys, even for St. Juice and Forbes. I get it. It's not good getting burned. And, with some of the problems that Forbes had last year, you don't want anything that's going to be detrimental, but I think trial by fire, hey, sink or swim. Are you gonna like raise up and try to, address this problem, make the necessary changes, try to get better, try to do what you can to help the team and contribute more? Or are you going to just, complain about, I don't know what? So I love it. That's what the coach is doing. It's very, his namesake brethren, a very Dan Campbell like, and Quinn's been coaching longer than Campbell. So for all this was his style as well. It's just, Campbell got the recognition, with the hard knocks and with the season that Detroit's had since he's taken over, or seasons, excuse me. But I mean, I dig it. I like everything they're doing. Seems like they're just trying to put guys in positions to make plays. And if they don't, then they're, addressing it and evaluating it and then addressing it and going from there. So that's where I'm at. I'm excited to see this defense under Quinn, because everywhere Quinn's gone, he's been able to get the most, I'd say, out of a lot of guys. And he brought a fair amount of his guys with him, both coaching staff and, vets. So I'm excited to see how it ends up looking, especially when you pair it. We got guys like Allen and Payne who have already been with the team. I want to see this Johnny Newton guy. I want to see what he turned, I want to see what he.
The linebackers, Lulu, he's been like flying around too. Like him and Sanders still got on the tackle on the first game, in the first game. And I was like, man, that's something I haven't seen in years. Like people flying to the ball like that.
Yeah, it's refreshing, man, seeing stuff like that.
But low key, the surprise MVP in yesterday's game was Jamin Davis. He's looking like at least a solid defensive rotational line player. Like you can line him up on the D line and he will perform. Not elite, but he can perform. And that's basically due to his natural abilities. Like if he could actually learn some traits from the position, he could be even better. Not necessarily saying he would be better, but he could be better. And yeah, the safeties, like they look good. Wagner hasn't played, just like Ertz hasn't played in the preseason. So like, yeah, like as far as I'm concerned, the team looks like I expected them to look. We'll do official predictions, but I feel like Vegas really nailed it with the 6.5 win prediction. I hope it doesn't go up or it didn't go up because I'm gonna be mad that I didn't play the over. But yeah, I'm excited for what's to come this season and beyond.
Yeah, for sure. Tough schedule, but it's kind of like that RG3, no pressure, no diamonds. Speaking of which,
see that one more time today.
Huh?
I said if I hear that one more time, hear or see that one more time today.
Well,
like it's been referenced twice, and the crazy part is it had nothing to do with RG3, even though he is in the news right now.
What, for that picture?
No, I thought you could say it. He got fired from ESPN.
Oh, I didn't.
I thought that's what you were about to say. Oh, for real?
No, I didn't know he got fired.
What's her name? Samantha something. She had like a last name of a former quarterback that went to Florida State. I can't remember.
Winky?
No.
Oh, well, Chris Winky. Pondexter or Ponder?
Yeah, Samantha Ponder. That's her name.
That's who. Yeah. As soon as I said Winky, I was like, oh no, wait, it's the other guy.
Yeah, that Bama Christian Ponder. Bum, by the way. Like, I don't even know what NFL team he went to. That's how trash he was. I think it was the Vikings, but
it was.
It was them. Yeah. But yeah, he was in the news for no pressure, no dramas, but yeah.
Oh yeah? You didn't see that picture of him and his wife?
Yeah, I saw the croissant. But that's not, I'm saying that like he was in the news for that, but not necessarily.
I'm here to tell you he did that on purpose. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was like, let me take a picture that everybody's going to flip out about. And you know what I mean? Like, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. That's all the craze now. Everybody loves impressions, social media impressions. That's the craze right now.
Well, we're talking about impressions. What kind of impression has the number one overall draft pick with painted nails and pink iPhone bedazzled accessories? What has Caleb Williams impressed upon you with his play thus far?
Like real talk, he looked like I expected them to look. Mahomesian. Like when I saw him at USC, rather it be in a game or highlights, he looked just like Mahomes. Like that's the quarterback comparison. No, that doesn't mean that he's gonna be like Mahomes or put up the stats that Mahomes put up because he doesn't have Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill and all those other receivers or whatever. But that doesn't mean he's going to look like trash either, because when I say he looks like Mahomes, I'm saying that he can deliver the ball from any position on the field. Any position, any angle, any pressure, like he can deliver the ball. You don't have to like win from the pocket and winning from the pocket. Him and Mahomes and Allen and Jackson, and I guess you could throw Jordan Love and what's his name, Herbert, in there if you want, but you don't necessarily have to win from the pocket anymore. Like you can go around and make backyard football plays, and it's like okay, like it's not really planned, but it's okay to make plays off a breakdown or off a missed block or whatever, or yeah. But he made 2 throws yesterday that had me like, yeah,
one to the left.
yeah. The one when he was like, it was a fadeaway throw. Like it's the only quarterback I've seen make that throw is Mahomes. That was my phone. But yeah, nevertheless, like he's worth the first pick. I don't think he's going to be a bust. I look forward to the future or the current war that's developing between Bears and Commanders fans with Daniels and Williams. Because it has started. The war has started. It'll heat up. That game in November, that's going to be a fun game to watch. But it's going to be fun because I think both quarterbacks are going to be good.
I don't know who these people are that you keep mentioning, Mike. I'm kidding. But yeah, I would agree. He definitely looks everything like the number 1 overall pick. I will say it did seem like as difficult or as high a degree of difficulty as that play that we were just talking about. He rolls out to his left, quickly turns and sets his hips, throws just a dime to how you say that guy's name? Rome Odunze? Did I say that right? The receiver, who I think is also a first-round pick or a very high pick for the Bears. And just a large gentleman too, to be honest. That guy's huge. But on that play, I almost felt like, how do I explain this? It's like Williams needs to kind of like that's his strength, is kind of rolling out and doing the Mahomes kind of thing. I'm not saying he can't be a pocket passer. I'm just saying if you go back and watch that play, I feel like he kind of forced the rolling out and running around. Like, I don't know. I feel like he could have just thrown it, but maybe he did that because he wanted to line up with the receiver to deliver the ball better. Like in other words, like from where he was standing, he did not think he could throw the ball to anybody in a completable fashion. So maybe that's what it was. And I don't say that like trying to be a hater or nothing like that, because that guy's pretty good size individual, very athletic, just flicked the wrist and the ball was there. So yeah, definitely looking like the number 1 overall pick. And, the team did the right thing. They went out and they, you got DJ Moore already. Now you got Keenan Allen there. So you got some vet receivers. You got this young rookie. You got a solid, athletic, young, but seasonally experienced tight end in Cole Kmet. Went out and got some pieces in the running game with DeAndre Swift. And I believe they signed somebody else, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. Was it my guy Foreman? Is he still there? Donta Foreman or O Foreman, something like that. I think he would, or no, they got Khalil Herbert still. Khalil Herbert is who I'm thinking of. So there's some talent there offensively that should kind of, be able to surround Caleb and be a very nice foundation, a nice home base for him. So I'm impressed. I'll tell you who I was impressed by, and unfortunately it's going to be, we're going to have to wait a whole year. But J.J. McCarthy looked good in that preseason game, man. Did you see it?
Yeah.
I remember who they were playing, and it's weird that we were talking about vanilla, playbook. A lot of people were saying like, "Hey, was Kevin O'Connell like? Did he open up the playbook?" Because it just seemed like there was a lot more there in that game. And now, granted, highlights can be misleading, if you will.
Or what if that's their basic stuff?
That's taking it back to
they play the Raiders, by the way.
Okay, well, what was my man's name that was here? He came from the Rams, and he had the like 6,000 page playbook or something.
Oh,
Alan Page or Saunders.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, he came from the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, that's right. Right, correct.
Yeah, I remember because there's Madden pictures. He still had the Chiefs gear on, even though he was coaching for us.
Well,
But yeah, the Vikings. Like it's funny you mentioned McCarthy and how good he looked in the preseason game. Only for a couple of days later, the Bama tear his knee up and he's out for the season. Like I'm not laughing like because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's unbelievable that the Vikings are facing this much adversity before the season even started.
so peep this. Do you remember when Alex Smith had his horrific injury and people were comparing it to Joe Theismann, and the time and the date and even the spot on the field was kind of similar and whatever. I'm going to throw something out there for you, and then let's see if because I've already set the table with what I just said. Teddy Bridgewater. Do you remember that? That Vikings team had a nice defense. What's my guy? The guy that was the Dallas and Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator for the longest time, and he was their head
Zimmer.
coach. Yeah. Zimmer was their head coach. They had that defense was just looking lovely. Adrian Peterson, enough said, because he was still cooking. I think he had just come off the 2,000-yard season, and so the team was all set. And it's like, all right, Bridgewater is like maybe in his second or third year. He's got some playing experience here and there. It's time to go. Time to promote Bridgewater. And what happens? They said it was like one of the most horrific non-contact knee injuries. They said like all these players were like throwing up and like just flipping out because it was so bad. And other than like the horrific part, I mean, horrific because it happened and the timing and, affecting his career. JJ McCarthy seems to kind of be in a similar boat, not just playing for the Vikings, but the fact is like, man, things were looking good and then bam. It's rough.
Yeah, that sucks. Like, of course, I'm not like saying that it matters in the long run or anything, but like I drafted him in my dynasty league and hoping because last year this team I had Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback, so I drafted a quarterback with the first pick so I could have three quarterbacks, and McCarthy doesn't even
Now
make
you're back
week
to
one. And if Rodgers get injured again, which like I ain't wishing injury on nobody, but the Bama's old and he hasn't had a career like Brady where he's escaped injury a lot. So you can kind of pencil in him missing a few games this year, which means I'm going to be in some trouble. But that's just what happens in fantasy football. But yeah, the Vikings, like we
Sam
talked
Darnold.
about, yeah, it's going to be his show. But even before we get to the preseason, like they lost so many people, and even a death occurred with their third round pick, Kyrie Jackson from the DMV area, bro. And it happened in the DMV area, so that's the connection.
That's wild.
With us, but they had corners. Their starting cornerbacks were injured on the first and second day of camp. A bit of good news, so for the Viking fans, not only like you mentioned, Sam Darnold was there. Like he's a first overall pick, former first overall pick, and like you said, O'Connell, like KOC, like we know what that man can do on offense. The only person that made Dwayne Haskins look like an NFL quarterback. Cousins cooked with O'Connell, and I expect Darnold to do the same thing. If you're looking for a quarterback late in the draft and you went super hard on the premium positions, don't sleep on Darnold, bro. Don't sleep on Darnold.
Darnold, bro.
And the bigger news of the day, or the biggest news of the day in the NFL, the Vikings signed Stephon Gilmore.
Oh,
to a
wow.
1-year deal. Yep. So reinforcements are coming in. McCarthy probably wouldn't have started the season for them anyway, I feel like. So they're kind of still on schedule, but I don't know about competing in the NFC North for them this year with the way the Bears and Packers look. Oh, and I'm sorry. How dare I forget the reigning defending NFC North champions, the mighty, all of a sudden, Detroit Lions. So yeah, they're finishing fourth. Like, I hate to be blunt, but there's no way they can recover from what's happened to them this offseason with the other three teams in that division group.
Yeah, I mean, it's McCarthy going down is a blow to their future, not necessarily their what would you call that? Their instant future, their immediate future. I don't know why I said instant. Because, like you said, with that division, we just did all that talking about Caleb Williams and all the optimism. The Packers are ahead of that level of optimism with Jordan Love, who's got some experience, and everybody seems to be thinking is about to take another step into another stratosphere. That's just, I'm telling you what I'm hearing the way everybody's talking. Not disrespecting him or saying he's not. I just, that one playoff game they won, and now all of a sudden the man is touching everything, turning to gold. But and then, like you said, the Detroit Lions. So with those three teams in the way, even with JJ McCarthy, maybe they could win 2 games against the Bears. Maybe, I'm not saying they would, but I don't see them. Maybe a split with Green Bay, losing Green Bay, winning Minnesota, but I don't think they're winning against the Lions at all. Even with the healthy JJ McCarthy and now that they got Gilmore, yeah, I don't see that happening. So,
All right.
2 cents.
The last 3 topics, I'm going to try to be kind of quick with them.
Hey.
Starting off with John Madden. May he continue to rest in peace. But it looks like a green light. I mean, a biopic for him has been greenlit. And rumors are that Nicolas Cage is being cast to play John Madden. I do not know how I feel about that. But who else can play him? Like, I wouldn't even.
It's my understanding that the film company that is doing this, they did, I believe, Silver Linings Playbook. I think they did another movie, and not just because he's in Silver Linings Playbook, but I think Bradley Cooper is associated with this company or the people involved in it, or whatever. And so there was some talk that, like, why, maybe he should have been considered. I couldn't tell you how they arrive at Nicolas Cage to play John Madden, but these days, whether it's like the makeup and the mask stuff that they, make you go through, as well as CGI, anything's possible. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure this would be focusing on the earlier parts of John Madden. People like yourself and myself are a little more familiar with him as the announcer, the guy on the video game, not necessarily the Oakland, Los Angeles. I don't know. He wasn't the coach when they were the LA Raiders. I don't think. I think that was the. I can't remember the guy's name, but the Hispanic guy was the coach.
And Al Davis.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but Al Davis hired John Madden, so they.
No, I'm saying he coached the Raiders.
A little bit, yeah.
Like, that's wild.
But I think this is going to focus on young Madden, but it still kind of seems weird with.
When I think of young
Cage, because when I think Nicolas Cage, I think of Gone in 60 Seconds. I think of
Yeah.
National stealing the Declaration of Independence or whatever. National treasure, I think. That's about it.
Yeah, you froze a little. I was hoping you said national treasure because you got froze.
Yeah. So excuse me, I forgot a few golden ones. So it would definitely be Gone in 60 Seconds. Probably his best film.
And of course, Face Off.
Face Off, just for all the humor that always comes with that. Face Off. 8mm, I thought was underrated. It's a little bit of a weird film. But he's like a detective, like exploring like the underground, like
I never saw it. Was he in Con Air?
Yes, Con Air is pretty good as well. Con Air is good because it's got a ridiculous cast. I mean, a ridiculous cast. But and then one of his early works is it's called Raising Arizona. This is great. That's a good one. He sort of just plays like your kind of run of the mill, like redneck, like, hey, you had a famous line like "Never you mind, Mordecai." Like, it's pretty funny.
And I think it'll be a fire biopic. I remember watching Pat Summerall's A Football Life and tearing up at the end of that joint. So I can't imagine what a John Madden biopic could look like.
You got to imagine they'll at least be mention of Pat Summerall. Depending, I don't know what they're focusing on, but those two did so many games together. You would imagine that there would be at least some sort of little clip, maybe even if it's like finishing off the movie, like this is Madden as an announcer, and this I'm Pat Summerall, John Madden.
All right, one more Pat Summerall tidbit. DJ Cannon, DJ Drama.
Yeah.
And he always dropped the Cannon on his mixtapes and stuff.
Yeah.
That's actually a sound clip from Madden 2002, and he's got Pat Summerall saying Gannon for Rich Gannon from the Oakland Raiders. So he's not even saying Cannon. He's actually saying Gannon, but it sounds like Cannon. I don't know how he does it, but like ever since he told that, I hear it, but it still sounds like Cannon.
Huh.
So, shout out to
not know that.
Pat Summerall and EA Sports. So check out that Madden and college football. It's still the same game, honestly, but they have added a little new stuff in it. So if you hadn't played in like years or whatever, check it out if you can. Let's move topics. The Olympics finished with a bang. Like that USA gold medal game was a classic. Steph Curry went ham. We all know what happened, so no need to.
Kind of feel like he should have got the MVP.
Maybe, but LeBron did finish like first in almost every single category in the Olympics, and I feel like his impact was just gravitational, the same way that Jokic was for Serbia.
Gravitation.
Yeah, like him and Jokic. Huh?
Nothing. I was just being goofy.
Nah, because him and Jokic, they're like the only two players that like you can both play the game through them, and you can play the game with them, and they can take over the game and use you and the opponents to make them better. And like the way they do it is just crazy. But nevertheless, Noah Lyles continues to be an enemy of American sports. And it's funny, I just talked about Jokic because he's the latest person to be mentioned by Noah Lyles or in the Noah Lyles beef or whatever. And the funny part is it's not even that serious, but I feel like as an athlete, how can you not know who a two-time MVP is? And we're talking recently. And an international player. He was at the Olympics.
Yeah.
And you go on Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson show, and you say, I don't know who Nikola Jokic is.
Well, what I would say is there are people out there who are not into sports anywhere near as you and I are. There are athletes. I would use Anthony Rendon as a great example. He talked all the time about like, yeah, you know, he watches like guys that he plays against, but he's not necessarily going home and watching Major League Baseball games. You know what I mean? Like he's a fan of playing baseball, and he's aware of who's good because he's out there playing and he sees, like if he's at bat and he sees guys in the field and they're making good plays, he can recognize that. But he's not going home and like turning on MLB Network or something like that. So I suppose it's possible, but I would definitely say at this point it's trolling because this whole thing that he's been doing about, NBA players aren't world champions, whatever. I mean, he's been doing that for a while now. And for some people, right, even though they're legendary, everybody has their sort of thing. Guys like Jordan and Brady would try to spin some like, wait, are you talking shit? What did you just say? And now it's bulletin board material and they're fired up and they have motive and now they're coming after you and they're going to, they're aiming right for the head. Noah Lyles maybe needs to like piss other people off so that they'll come at him and now he gets motivated. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm theorizing. But I got to be honest, man, I'd be careful if I were Noah Lyles. A lot of people are sharing all those pictures of him partying and dancing the night before when he lost the 100 and then claims he had COVID. That's what people are saying. I'm not saying it's true.
Me either. And the way he like hyped himself up before the race.
Oh yeah, he did a whole lot.
The evidence is, if I'm a judge, the evidence is just out there, bro.
I don't know what kind of
how do you want me to ignore the stuff that I'm seeing?
You know what it reminds me of, honestly? Just a little bit. God, I can't remember anything to save my life anymore. What's the boxer, the good heavyweight, and he lost to the fat white dude, and everybody was joning on him because he wore too much gear. Wilder.
Yeah, Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, remember that he had all that like predator looking whatever kind of stuff, and people were frying him, right? And they're like, all that weight you carry, like you didn't need to do that. I feel just a little bit. I feel like that's the same thing applied to Noah Lyles here. It's like, I get like you're really fast, and I'm not saying like that little bit of jumping around and getting all hyped up and getting the crowd all whatever that like took him out of breath. But at the same time, like maybe, you could have saved a little bit of that energy,
Right. You finished second.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think that could have got you? And as far as him and his beef with other athletes, like, look at Quincy Hall, man. Like, he knew who everybody was on that boat, bro. He went live on Instagram or something. He knew who everybody was. So you expect me to think that Lyles doesn't know who Jokic is? And they ain't even saying, like, when he said he didn't know who Tyreek Hill is or was.
I don't believe that.
I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
No.
But not Jokic, bro.
No, I
feel like he should know who
I
Jokic
think he
is.
knows who Tyreek Hill is.
But yeah, like I'm pretty sure something else gonna happen about that and Noah Lyles. We won't have to wait 4 years. One more tidbit for the Olympics, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Sha'Carri Richardson. I'm glad I'm starting to say her name correctly, because when I'm by myself or when I was by myself, I definitely was saying Sha'Carri. But Sha'Carri Richardson, it's definitely spelled Sha'Carri, but nevertheless, Sha'Carri Richardson Get used to hearing that name because she just signed a deal with ESPN to be like a reporter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. So she's reporting on like track and field and Olympics?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Somebody can definitely check me on it, but I think they're signing her on like as a personality or a reporter, like a sideline reporter or something. I get it. Like I can see her working in the NBA for sure as a sideline reporter or, like remember my girl from Inside Stuff. What was her name?
Rachel Nichols?
Nah, heck nah.
Monica McNutt?
Nah. She started hosting Inside Stuff after Ahmad Rashad left.
Oh, it's Summer something.
Summer Sanders, is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like she could be like that. And that's all I wanted to mention on that. And last topic, bro, you really did like catch my interest or pique my interest with that. You think Tatum and Brown are about to become villains in the NBA?
Okay. I don't think they're going to become villains from the standpoint of like the negative connotation, but I think the same way where New England started winning a lot and people started like, all right, no, we don't like New England. We want them to lose. Alabama started winning a lot. All right, tired of seeing Alabama win. We're going to root for whoever's playing against Alabama. I think it could potentially turn into something like that. You didn't even, you being Team USA, it's wildly known they didn't really play Jason Tatum like that. I get Steve Kerr is just trying to win, and I get that everybody was getting some burn here and there, except for maybe Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton, it would seem. Halliburton said, like, when you get an A on the group project but didn't do anything, that's pretty much he was like holding the gold medal up. But they like didn't play Jason Tatum. I think he was the only guy on the team that was all NBA. First team, and NBA champ, and he didn't play, and I get it, maybe like with the lineups Kerr had, he had the trust and was confident with the way they would run plays. Not to mention, who would you have taken out Tatum for? So I understand that argument too. But to do all those things and not even have him really play that much at all, and then you don't even bring Jaylen Brown in. Once Kawhi says, "No, I'm not going to play," you go and get Derek White instead. And I get it, guy. You got LeBron, you got KD, you got Steph. Also let's add in Anthony Edwards and Booker. That's a lot of like alpha, need the ball, need a lot of shots. You need some guys who are willing to play defense, like a Drew Holiday or a Derek White. Both happen to be Celtics, by the way. So you need some guys that are willing to do some of those other things. I get that too. But now you've slighted both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. LeBron's getting up there in age. And, you could argue same with Steph Curry. I get that maybe, Edwards, Halliburton, even Booker's been around longer than the other two, but all of those could represent part of the new wave. But I just feel like the way that Celtics team is set up, Jason Tatum and Brown both being as good as they are, especially with Brown being so versatile, being a good defensive player, someone who will make smart plays and can score the ball. And it's just he's a big dude. He's, like for a guard, I'd say he's pretty good size. He's not LeBron, but he ain't small compared to LeBron like most are either. I think you've really pissed both of them off. And I think the situation has been created for just what I said about like Jordan and Brady with the bulletin board material. you now have those two guys who feel slighted, who are the two main cogs on that Celtics team to begin with. That Celtics team has draft picks. They've got, I believe, still got Porzingis. You got role players like Derek White, Andrew Holiday on the team. Oh man, I don't really see. I don't think Philly's going to be that much of a test for Boston. We'll see what Milwaukee does if Giannis can stay healthy with him and Lillard, but I don't see a lot of threats for Boston. So now that who's coming out of the West, whoever it is, they're going to be worn out because the West is so tough. I think you've created a situation for Boston to just, win it the next couple of years, and for a lot of that to be with Tatum and Brown's sort of villain story arc started right here at the Paris Olympics, with Brown being slighted and Tatum being, hey, you can be on the team, but, just keep the chairs warm for us. Like, yeah, that's just how I feel, bro.
But he played in the gold medal game, though.
Who, Tatum?
Yeah, I think he might even started.
Interesting.
And he actually contributed too, early in the game. He hit a three, I think, and got a bucket. He contributed.
Okay.
Not saying that he was the key cog or whatever, but when you got KD, LeBron, and Steph on the same team, I don't know what you want. And somebody, and this is why I know you mentioned Devin Booker, and this is how I know he's going to be the future of the Olympic team, or one of the key contributing members or whatever on the 2028 team, because somebody tweeted a couple of years ago, we need somebody on Team USA that knows a role and is okay with playing it, and not necessarily being the star of the team. And Booker retweeted it and was like, all right, I can do that. Bet. And he backed it up. He was definitely doing some dirty work in the Olympics. And I think because of that, he's going to be rewarded. And my favorite thing about the Olympics, I'm not sure if it's confirmed or not, but Kerr won't be the coach, thankfully. I feel like a lot of the problems was due to him. That's another story for another day. Coach Spo is taking over the Olympics team, and I am excited about that because I feel like he's been one of the best coaches of our lifetime, and everybody slept on that man. And he will lead us to a gold in 2028. I'm sure of it.
Well, I don't doubt that we'll still be winning gold medals. I do think France is going to be a problem as Wemby continues to develop. You still got Gobert, you got guys like Koulibaly.
And our boy, Koulibaly. He did some things in that gold medal game. Not saying he was elite or whatever, but he went to war with the Avengers and swammed. He was active. Let's just say that. I think he got some good defensive plays. Got a breakaway dunk, I think. Yeah, he was in there. And Alex Sarr, who knows how he'll develop? I think, I'm not sure if he's a French citizen or not, but I think he could compete for the team in the same way that Chris Kaman competed for Germany at that time. I think he was able. Chris Kaman, you remember him, the center from the Clippers?
Yep.
I think he was able to compete because he had German blood or something like that. He was never a citizen or a resident. It was his heritage that allowed him to compete. It was weird, but yeah, we still cooking whoever. Like, just because the world is catching up don't mean y'all caught up. Get that weak stuff out of there. I'm serious. What they think it is.
How does that work then? Do they get to, because all those guys, especially if you're Jason Tatum, you're like, I'm an NBA champ and a gold medalist, so Noah Lyles can shut the fuck up. Like, is that how that works? Like,
I feel like it. Like the NBA, the Olympic USA Twitter page was like extra when they were like world champions of what. They tweeted that after the game.
Yep.
And it's funny because his whole beef was the NBA champion can't say they are world champions, but and I get what everybody's saying. Like, you can't call yourself world champions if you never, defended it against the entire world. But what other team in the world do you think is competing with the NBA champion in a 5 or 7 game series? We're not talking one. Like, this ain't college, bro. We're talking a series.
Oh, yeah.
You're not beating the NBA team in any series. I don't care if it's a 3-game series. Matter of fact, even if it was a winner take all, I don't think there's a team that can beat an NBA champion team in a game. Like, who's beating the Celtics? No non-NBA team. Who's beating the Celtics? Nobody. And that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, I think probably a good way to wrap it up. I mean, like I said, I think France would be good in a few years, but that's a few years. That's not right now.
Man, and Canada, don't sleep on Canada.
Yeah, they got, and actually France upset them. That was the
that was the semifinal. Yeah,
Canada was the higher seed and allegedly the better team.
That would have been fun to watch.
Yeah, an all North American final.
Yeah, it'll happen soon. Maybe not in our lifetime, but it'll happen. Yeah, and like you said, that's a good way to end it. Hope y'all have a good week. Like I said, no show until December because I'm not coming back until after. I mean, I'm coming back like Thursday or Friday, but I got other stuff I gotta do. I gotta work on the 31st. Got a cookout on the 1st. So yeah,
draft on the 31st too, brother.
Huh?
So don't forget our fantasy drafts on the 31st as well.
Oh yeah, I'm cooking that. Heck, it sucked. I don't think did we mention on the show that I finished second?
Probably not on this show. Like we've probably mentioned it, but not this episode until
the odds of me getting back to the championship game are slim, but that is my attempt nonetheless, and this time I want to win it all. And with that being said, that's all I got.
Well, the only flaw I see with that is I'm trying to win our league this year, so I don't know how you're going to be able to do it.
You tried last year too. What you mean?
Yeah, I know. But I also had
don't care.
Whoa, Mike. Calm down. Anywho, so I don't know how you're going to win if I'm trying to win. I'm going to actually – last year, what happened is after I made my first draft pick, I should have stopped the draft. I should have paused the draft. And I should have said, hey, give me a do-over. I don't want to take this guy with my first pick anymore. That's what I should have did. Yeah.
I don't even remember my team from strategy.
I tried to be too cool and cutting edge instead of just making the right pick. But I'm hoping that this year.
And my team name was Gunther, and he's the current world heavyweight champion. He just won it like the beginning of the month, so I might run that name back again, but I don't know yet.
Well, wait. Well, the world heavyweight champion of what?
WWE.
Oh,
He's a
I've
wrestler.
never heard of Gunther.
Very old school. I think you would like him.
Okay.
German. Oh, not German. Austrian. He. You would like him. I'm gonna send you one of his good promos. I feel like.
Okay.
He's a very cocky individual too.
Okay.
But he old school, so you'll see.
Gotcha.
I think you'll like him. He like that He does that Greco style wrestling.
Okay. So he's like Kurt Angle.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Well,
shout out to WWE and all the wrestlers in the world, both amateur and professional, and Greco and the other wrestling styles. I can't remember. But peace out. Oh, and shout out to that Cuban wrestler. Did we ever talk about him?
We did.
Yeah, we talked about him last episode. Yeah.
His name is Mihan Lopez. Yeah. Something like that.
I love wrestling. It's back. I'll let y'all later.
Good night.